Hey everyone, how's it going? God Gamer here. Today I'm going to be explaining to you how to get Hollow Knight mods on PC using the Scarab mod installer. So first off, if you're on console, you can't install mods, you can only get them on PC. Next up, make sure to use the newest version of Scarab. Using older versions of mod installer isn't going to work. Third, if you need any download links, if you have any troubleshooting issues, or if you want to know where a folder is on your PC, check the description below. There's going to be plenty of guides for any problems that you might have. One excellent resource is the Start Modding channel in the Hollow Knight modding Discord. So join the Discord and enter this channel. There's going to be text guides detailing exactly how to do everything that I go through in this video, along with troubleshooting guides along the way. However, if you're still having problems, you can enter the support channel. So first off, when you enter, check the pinned messages. These go over a lot of the common problems that people have, but if your problem isn't solved in the pinned messages, you can send a message here. Make sure to detail your problem. Don't just ask for help, because people can't help you unless they know what the problem actually is. Lastly, if you're using a pirated version of the game, the reason why you're having an issue is 99% of the time because you pirated the game. So don't ask for technical help. Either get a legit copy of the game or just accept that you're not going to be able to use mods. But with that, let's get started. So first off, you're going to want to go into the GitHub page for Scarab. This will automatically link you to the latest version of Scarab. So you're going to want to look at assets at the bottom and then find the version of Scarab for the operating system that you're using. In my case, that is Windows. So download windows.zip. Once that's downloaded, you can open it, and it's just going to open something that looks like a folder. You want to take these files and drag and drop them into a folder that you've made for Scarab. Once you've unzipped Scarab, you'll have it in its own folder. You can just open up the Scarab application. And if you're running on Windows, you might get a message like this. This is telling you that it might be a dangerous file because it's unrecognized. However, this is a trustworthy file. You can just click more info, then run anyway. So once you open Scarab up, it's going to try to find where your Hollow Knight directory is. Usually this is going to be the right directory. However, if it gets the wrong directory, you're going to want to hit no and manually tell it where your Hollow Knight directory actually is. But if you want to double check it, I've given you instructions in the description below. That's because it depends on which store you bought Hollow Knight from. That'll decide where the default location of Hollow Knight actually is. Now for me, this is the right location, so I'm just going to click yes. And Scarab's going to give me a full list of all the different mods I can download for Hollow Knight. Make sure before you install any mods that Hollow Knight is completely closed. So let me show you how to navigate this list. So you can see the mod titles are on the left. If you want to find out more information about any of the mods, simply click on them and you get a little bit of a brief description about what it is. Now, some of the mods have what we call dependencies. Dependencies mean that this mod, Additional Maps, depends on SF Core. So that means Additional Maps needs SF Core to be installed in order for the mod to work. However, if we install Additional Maps, let me just show you, SF Core automatically installs as well. However, if you disable SF Core, Additional Maps probably isn't going to work. So just be cautious of that. Once you've installed some mods that you want to try out, you can simply open your Hollow Knight game. And this time when you open it, you're actually going to get a loading bar that pops up at the beginning, just like this. Now, depending on how many mods you have installed, it can take more time than you might expect. But once you get into the main menu, you can see in the top left that there's actually a list of mods. If any of the mods say failed to load, that means there's a problem. Usually it's because some of the dependencies for that mod weren't installed. So if that happens, close the game and double check that the dependencies are all there. Now, if the mod version is listed as unknown, that doesn't mean there's a problem. That just means that the mod version number wasn't actually declared normally. Next up, I'm going to show you how to change the mod settings. Most mod settings nowadays are available in the mods section of the options. So go into options and go into mods, and you can see all the different mods here. You can simply click on one of these mods and change the options, and you can see I can choose how many Markoths will fuck me up in the Absrat fight. Okay, so there's one more explanation about Scarab that I want to go through, which is enabling and disabling mods. So having a mod installed means that it's downloaded to your computer. Having a mod enabled means that it will run when you open the game. So this is important because you probably don't want to run dozens of Hollow Knight mods at once, but you might still want to have them on your computer. So you can just disable mods if you choose to. And the other thing is that if you open Scarab again, at some point, some of these mods might be updated. So if that happens, this installed message right here is going to be replaced by out of date. So if that happens, you simply uncheck the installed box and check it again, and it will re-download the up-to-date version of the mod. So now you know how to install mods with Scarab, but you might not know which mods to actually try out. And there's so many different mods that it can be really tough to filter through them. So I just made this little mod list of mods that I would recommend you try out, especially if you're new to modding. A lot of these are the more popular mods that a lot of people use. So I would recommend kind of going from top to bottom and installing most of these. You don't have to grab all of them, just the ones that appeal to you. And I would strongly recommend trying out Randomizer at some point. Randomizer is just such a fun way to experience the game. And there's a lot of different add-on mods that work with Randomizer, such as Randomizer Map S, which I would highly recommend if you're a beginner to Randomizer. And some of these mods do require a bit of extra prep in order to get them working, such as Custom Night and Enemy HP Bar. So let's get into that. Okay, so after you've installed those mods, make sure to open the game to the main menu and then close it. What this does is it makes the mods that you just downloaded create the folders within their directories where you're going to install the skins to. So this is Colette's Hollow Knight skin list. So currently this is the best resource for skins. It contains pretty much every single custom night skin that you can think of. This is a list of the skins alphabetically. It contains the name of the skin along with the sprite sheets that the skin contains and the author of the skin. So this skin, for example, Aether Phase, contains sprite sheets for the Knight, for the Sprint Master Knight, and for void spells. However, this Angel Knight skin, for example, contains sprite sheets for basically everything you can think of. So some of these skins are more complete than others. Now, once you've found a skin you want to download, you'll notice that some of these links go to Discord servers. So you might need to join a Discord server in order to download those skins. I'm just going to download Angel Knight from Google Drive, and I'll show you how to do that. Simply find the skin in the list, right-click it, and go to download. Okay, so while we're here, let's get a custom HP bar. So I'm going to download Masks for HP by Dwarfwoot. So just go to the Google Drive link, right-click the folder, and click download. Now, go back into Scarab and click Open Mods. What this does is it opens your mods folder. From there, go to Custom Night and you should see a skins directory. Open the skins directory and you want to place your folder into this directory. So I open angelknight.zip and then I go to the mods skins folder that I just opened up, and then you drag the skin folder into here. So you have to be very careful that the folders are set up as they should be. Otherwise, things are not going to load. So now I'm going back to my enemy HP bar folder, and I'm going to do the exact same process. Open the custom HP bar zip, and then simply drag it into the custom HP bar folder. Now I'm going to rename this to masks for HP, just so I can tell what it is in the game. However, there's actually one more step that we can do, which is changing some of the settings of the enemy HP bar skin. Now, in order to change settings of some mods, we actually have to go and change the global settings files. To do that, we have to go into our saves directory. On Windows, you do that by hitting the Windows key plus R or opening the Run menu. Once you get to that point, copy and paste this directory into the Run menu, or you can type it in manually. Now click OK, and it'll bring you to your Hollow Knight saves directory. Now scroll until you see enemy HP bar.globalsettings.json. Right-click this and hit Open with a text editor. I'm just going to use Notepad. Now these are the settings I use to turn off the HP bar for enemies, because personally I find it distracting to have an HP bar for the smaller enemies. So I turn the scale of the HP bar to 0.0. For bosses, I like to have the HP bar a little bit smaller, so I changed the scale from 1 to 0.3. Once that's completed, I hit save, and my settings should take effect when I reopen the game. Most settings that you need to access will be available in-game, but there are some exceptions where you have to go and edit these JSON files. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to load the skins. So enter the game, go to Options, Mods, and Custom Night. Now make sure this is enabled and go to the skin list. Then click the skin that you installed. And it should load up without any issue. Now, to load the enemy HP bar, it's pretty much the exact same process. Make sure the HP bar is enabled, and then go to skin list, and this is masks for HP. Now, if I enter a boss fight, I should see the boss HP bar. And there it is. Now, you might want the HP bar to be a different size. You might also want to use an HP bar for enemies as well, and if that's the case, you can simply fiddle with the JSON file until you get the result that you desire. Just make sure the game is closed whenever you're making changes to the JSON. Otherwise, it will get rewritten as you close the game. Now, let me give you a quick demonstration on how to use Debug Mod. So I'm going to hit F1, and that pops up all of the Debug Mod menus. So you can see in the top right, there's clickable menus when you pause the game, where you can enable and disable cheats. You can give yourself charms. You can fix your charms if they're broken. You can go through and give yourself skills. You can give yourself items. You can respawn bosses that are within the room that you're in. Now, in order to use the Dreamgate menu, you're going to want to first hit Add Item. So this just adds the Dreamgate location to this list. If you want to set your Dreamgate to this location, you'd then click on this spot. Now, if you want to save the list, hit Save Data. Read data is used for if you import someone else's Dreamgate file into your debug directory. Now, some of the most important features with debug other than that are all of the information on the left, which you might find useful, just player data information, and also the binds menu. Now, to use the Debug Mod binds menu, you can go through the pages by clicking the left or right arrows at the bottom. Once you've found a feature that you want to bind a key to in the Debug Mod, simply click this and then hit the key on the keyboard. Save states are a very commonly used feature, especially if you're practicing in speedruns. So I have a key set to save a save state and to load a save state. So now if I'm in the game and I hit the right bracket to save my state, I can fall down here and then load it, and I'm right back where I was. Now, if you just want to use one of these features once, instead of setting it to a key, you can click the play button next to it, and it will do that feature just one time. The last thing with Debug Mod is that if you run into any problems, I recommend going into the mods menu, and you're able to reset key bindings to default. We often see people changing their key bindings, their left mouse button, for example, and it can just break the game. So this is a way for you to just reset everything. The other way is to delete the global settings file in the saves directory. Now let's look at Benchwarp. Benchwarp is a mod that lets you warp to any bench in the game. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is go into settings, and you may want to turn on or off Unlock All. So what Unlock All does is it makes all the benches available by default. However, if you're doing a randomizer run, you're definitely going to want to have Unlock All turned off. And that means that you can only access benches to warp to when you've already been to them. One of the other things you can do with Benchwarp is deploy a bench. So pause the game and click the deploy button, and a bench will be created wherever you're standing. You can also destroy that bench, and you can set that bench as your default bench without sitting on it by hitting set. Now, if you actually want to use the warp feature of Benchwarp, how you do it is you click on a bench that you want to warp to, and then you hit warp, and it simply warps you there. Now, if you hit set start, that will warp you to wherever you started the run. Sometimes with Randomizer, you have random start locations, so your start location might not be King's Pass. However, in my case, it is King's Pass, so that's where the game warps me. Okay, so now I'm going to be explaining the basics of setting up your first Randomizer run. So first off, start off from the save screen and click New Game, go to Randomizer, and now you've got the probably confusing Randomizer main menu, but this isn't actually as bad as it looks. So these are the starting settings that I would recommend for a beginner, and you might think, oh, this is kind of annoying that I have to input all of this into the screen, but that's actually not the case. You can go to More Randomizer Settings, go to Manage Settings Profiles, and then you can enter the code you find in the description into this box and just click Apply Code to Menu. And all of the settings that I have right here are going to be input into your randomizer. Also, some of the randomizer mods that are add-ons to the randomizer require you to turn them on in the connections page. For example, I have the randomizable levers mod, but this is not on by default. I have to go into connections, levers, and then randomize levers. It is on by default. And having this on just means that levers are going to be randomized amongst all the other items. Not a setting I would recommend for beginners. Now, once everything is set up to your liking, click Begin Randomization and Start Game. Now, the very first thing I would recommend doing is hitting Ctrl+M. What this does is it turns on the Randomizer Map Mod. Now, the Randomizer Map Mod has different settings that you can access and change when the game is paused. So spoilers tells you where each item is. Not a mod you generally want for Randomizer unless you're getting kind of sick of the run and you just want to finish things off. Other than that, the default settings for Map Mod S are totally fine. So now we can double tap Quick Map to open the map, and we can see where all the item checks are that we can access. Item checks on the screen will either be grayed out or highlighted. If it's highlighted, that means that that item is accessible to us without performing any skips that we didn't turn on. Just because an item is grayed out, it doesn't mean you can't reach it. It just means you might need to do some skips that you didn't turn on in the settings. Now, one of the reasons why Map Mod S is so nice is when you pick these items up, the items will disappear from the map. So it's a very handy tool for keeping track of what you've done in the randomizer. So let's say you actually want to run your first room randomizer instead. So room randomizer is typically extremely difficult. However, if you're using MapModS, it can make things much easier. So if you open your map with MapModS, you'll see only the rooms that you've visited in the rando are going to be visible on the map. However, I'd like to explain some of the other features with MapModS that confused me at first. So first off, you're going to want to hit Ctrl+U, as you can see in the top right corner of the screen, to turn on Show Unchecked and Visited. What this does is it shows you in the top right which transitions in that room you've been to and which transitions in that room you haven't been to. So you can see in this room, I came from the left transition, so obviously that transition's been visited. However, the transition on the right, I haven't been to, so I should probably go and check that out. The top two transitions aren't listed because I don't have any vertical movement to reach those transitions yet. Now let's say I'm stuck in the room randomizer and I'm not really sure where to go next. Now I can open the map and I can look through the different rooms that I've been to, and I can check to see which rooms have unvisited transitions. Then I can target those rooms and go to them and explore more of the map. For example, in this room, I can see that the bottom one transition hasn't been visited. So let's actually go back to this room. So I'm going to highlight it, and then with my controller, I'm just going to hit A. And what that does is it sets a waypoint to that room, and the map mod will tell me how to get there. So check the top left, and it's telling me to go through the right transition. So it says Fungus 129. That's the map that I'm currently in. Go through the right transition. And it even gives me an arrow pointing to the transition that I need to go to. So now I'm back in the room where I want to check the bottom transition. Now I just need to go to that transition. And now, easy peasy, I've unlocked another room. And you can see there's 2 extra transitions for me to go through in this room. Now, some people may prefer to play randomizers without the extra help, but if you do want a little bit of help going through your first randomizer, I would highly recommend using MapModS. It does save you a lot of time, so you don't have to make the map yourself on a piece of paper. And I think that about wraps it up for this video. So if I missed anything, feel free to let me know in the comments and I can try to add things to the description. But with that said, I hope you found all of this helpful, hope you enjoy the Hollow Knight mods, and I hope you have a wonderful day. Thanks so much for watching.